Hey man, you ever look into flat Earth?
All right, I made a long version to this too. I'm just doing this short edit version for mainly those that don't want to sit and watch the whole observation of me coming up on these racks. And what I've done was I actually started out at Bill Watts, but I wound up putting these kind of in reverse, um, mainly because I started out using my handheld GPS and had all kinds of issues with it. So I I decided to just use my boat GPS, the one I had on my boat. This little handheld one wasn't worth a shit. Wouldn't pick up nothing when I got further out there. As you can see, uh, I was complaining and bitching that the damn thing wasn't picking nothing up. This first one of the North Rack was kind of the longest observation that I did. Um, but I couldn't tie up to these racks because it was so rough that being that I've got a flat boat, um, the waves would literally just beat the crap out of the front of my boat. It picks it up and then slams it down, picks it up and slams it down. And I didn't need that. I already got my butt beat up getting out here. It wasn't the nicest day to go out, and I was also risking my butt that I could have get swamp out there, especially if the wind would have picked up much harder. Um, as you can tell, that this water is not really rough, but in a flats boat, believe me, it's rough. It does a lot of pounding um, on the body and on the boat too. So um, I showed the North Rack first. Then I'm coming up here on Cutter's Rock. Also, I got as close to these as possible to get a close enough coordinates to where, 20, 30 feet is not going to make much of a difference in the coordinates location, especially at the distances that these racks are at. This is Cutter's Rock. Cutter's Rock is the farthest one away from me that I can see, which is basically, I think it's over 11 miles from Pine Island. Um, Not really sure. Uh, Got to get some help from my good friend Taboo Conspiracy, that's good at converting these coordinates to the coordinates for um, Google Earth. Why they're not the same, I don't know, but I tried to go on there and locate or position little markers where all the bird racks were, but it just didn't. The coordinates just didn't line up with the ones on Google Earth. Um, Next one I hit on my way back, I get Billy Steele's. Um, I get to Billy Steele's, which is like 7 miles, a little over seven. I think it's 7.78 miles from Bayport, which should be making it further from Pine Island too. These don't go out toward Pine Island. The North Rack does go more out in front of Pine Island than these other racks. But again, my main thing was just uh, showing the coordinates and allowing you to watch it and see what they were. Um, and again, this one looks like I'm quite a ways away, but I actually hit the enter button to mark that location when I was closer. Of course, I've drifted away because of the wind, the waves. Um, it was an inshore, or yeah, an inshore wind or the offshore wind. The wind was coming offshore, blowing back toward land, and the tide was starting to change. So it did make it pretty rough. Um, but the thing was after I finally got back to the Hernando Beach Islands, things did calm down quite a bit. Um, Still a little breezy, but I was able to do some filming of the sun and a little bit of the Hudson Beach condos that were floating um, due to that mirroring effect, atmospheric mirroring. And I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what blocks us off from seeing the entire buildings is that mirroring effect. That's for another later time to discuss and talk about. Right now, my main thing was to get the farthest ones away, get their coordinates, and this is Billy's Hernando Beach marker, and you can tell by the little extra rack on the side. I was actually going to tie up to this one, but I wanted to get back to the island so I could actually do some filming from there. So I decided not to tie up to it. But I tried to give you the angle that I'm filming it from so you can kind of see that, this is the rack. And that first little post or, cross member piece was maybe 5 feet. Remember I'm sitting down in the boat, and the other one might have been 6 feet. And then, even though I had already gotten Bill Watts on my small GPS, I wanted to go back by it again and get it on my boat GPS. It worked out to where I should have just used that anyhow instead of pulling around that little handheld thing. It didn't do me much good. And then here again, here's the Bill Watts rack. I didn't do Bayport because Bayport's really the closest one to me, and I didn't think it was as important. I know it is 3.5 miles away from Bayport Fishing Pier, but I'm not exactly sure how far it is away from the Pine Island. But next time I go out in my boat, I'll probably just run out there and get the coordinates to that one too, and be done with it. So again, I'll post a link to the long version with this video for those that do want to watch the whole video. To make sure that I wasn't bullshitting about going out here to these. Some people, they say, oh, you didn't do it right, or, I don't care. Like I said, I'm close enough to these bird racks to where a few feet, 10, 15, 20, 30 feet is not going to make much difference. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it.